This is part 5 of things that you may not have known about your spiritual guides. Now, this one might be surprising, but your guides, even though they may have had human lifetimes, they don't operate like humans, meaning that they don't carry negativity, fear, hate, feelings of lack, and that's because they don't carry physical density anymore. Now, this is kind of a physics thing. It's not just about morality and right and wrong. However, our guides do know what's in our soul's plan, and because they are in much higher consciousness than us, which is available to them because they aren't in 3D and they aren't in the human experience anymore, do know the best and highest path, and they can provide non-judgmental direction, which comes from them being in a place of pure love. Now, when we hear the word love, we think like ooey gooey, lovey-dovey feelings, because we conflate, we think love is just a feeling state. It is not. It is a state of existence. It is literally the center of our beingness. But when we come to earth and we're in these skin suits, we forget that. Now, people who meditate a lot and go into deep meditation or have had NDE experiences, the vast majority of NDE experiences had very positive experiences. The vast majority of them actually experienced nothing but pure love and bliss and peace. Not saying we have to try to get there in order to experience that, but our goal in coming to earth is to bring more and more of that here and to become more and more aware of that and hold that frequency more and more while we're on earth in our 3D. It's kind of like we're the vessel for it, for lack of a better way of saying it. So our guides are here to help us do that because they exist in it all the time. So when they're guiding you, even though they'll be often very clear and very direct because they know that that's actually the best way to communicate with you, doesn't mean that they're trying to be rude or that they're being judgmental. Now, they may joke around to get a point across to you, or at times they may not tell you certain information because they know it's not in the best and highest, but I want to make sure that you understand that they see any possible action and outcome that could come from telling you certain information or from not telling you certain information or from telling it to you in the wrong way at the wrong time or whatever. And so they will always choose the best and highest thing for you. So especially for me as a medium, one thing I learned consistently is different people's guides will work with them in different ways according to the way that that person needs in that moment. For some people, less is more. For some people, more is more. For some people, humor lands best in that moment. For other people, it's not the right time or the right place. But your guides are never judging you, literally never. And it's because that's not something that they exist in. In addition, especially for Western culture and Western women on earth, especially white women, we have a very large cultural undercurrent that tells women to be small and polite and nice and kind. Many of us were raised in the children are to be seen and not heard. And good girls sit nicely in their seats and don't make a fuss and don't get angry. And anger's bad. And little girls who are good girls just sit down and get good grades and just listen and do as they're told. So now imagine if that's what you've been told and you haven't worked through any of that conditioning or programming, what you might feel when you hear a guide who's coming in being really clear and direct. You might mistakenly think this guide hates me, they're being mean to me, they're judging me. They're not. They're just being clear and direct, which is something that you may not have taught was safe or okay, but it really is. It's just your cultural conditioning getting in there. So they will try to work with where they know you are. But sometimes they will come in real clear because, first of all, we struggle to hold the frequency to get more and more messages. Sometimes, too, they need to kind of skip to the point and just be direct with you. Number 3, it might take so many times for a message to come through before you grasp it or get it. So it's kind of like one guide comes through, gives you the message really directly, and you tap on the glass and it starts to crack a little bit. Then they come back in and they give the same message really clearly and you don't take it in yet or act on that guidance yet. But they're tapping and it cracks the glass a little bit more. Happens several more times and suddenly the glass shatters. You go, aha, I get it. And you finally take the action from their guidance that they've been trying to get you to for a while. And you realize, wow, they weren't judging me. They were really just trying to help me the whole time and trying to get me from point A to point B. Now, sometimes if you've had really critical, if you have a really critical inner voice, or if you've had a lot of criticism from coaches and well-meaning teachers and well-meaning parents and certain grandparents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or from society, you have to be really careful, because guides come in and they often don't have a vocal tone, especially for people who aren't clairaudient. It'll sound like a thought, so it won't have a sound. And it's very important that you don't superimpose any emotions on what they're saying, because they're not displaying any negative emotions toward you. So again, just because they're giving you certain information doesn't mean they're saying it in a nasty way or judging you. But sometimes if you have unresolved trauma around those things, your brain might superimpose that onto their words, making you misunderstand it or making it sound different in your mind than how they actually said it. This is actually a really common phenomenon on Earth, not just with spirit guides, but with people who, even in conversation with other people, there's tons of studies on it where people completely misinterpret or misremember things other people said. And then when they're played a video back or a recording back, they're like, that's not how I remembered that in my head. It's the same way with guides. So just think, if people can do that on Earth, of course they might do that with their guides as well, but your guides will keep trying because they love you, they're non-judgmental, and they are assigned to you from before birth, and they do that with pure love. Like, that is what they're here to do. That's what they want to do. You are not burdening them at all. Let me know if I should come back with more parts on this. I am going to be running a masterclass where you guys will get to learn how to connect with guides, so look for that in my bio as well.